Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. This is Cody Jones with Jangus Genetics LLC. And we've been getting a lot of questions of people asking, is our beef organic? And the answer is no. And for us, there's some good reasons why. Mainly for the quality of life for the animals and for the employees. There's a few things that we like to have in our toolbox and a few things that we do to just to help improve that quality of life. One thing that you can be sure of is we're doing it all out here on green grass pastures and sunshine. And a lot of organic organizations, they just can't do that because of the labor and the quality of life of the animals. And so the cow's gonna chew on my car here if we don't shoo her away in a minute. She's using my car as a scratching post. But anyway, so what are the main questions that we're getting is it's usually about chemicals, antibiotics, vaccinations, fertilizers. So the definition of organic farming is basically doing it, farming or raising livestock without using synthetic inputs of any kind. And so we've had some issues in the past with pink eye and pneumonia, and so we like to be able to use antibiotics just to treat individual cases. And 99% of the time, these are little baby calves, and I quit treating for a while. Someone told me, it's going to last 10 days if you treat them, 10 days if you don't. But for the quality of life on that animal for the rest of their life, sometimes they will have a permanent injury that we could have treated. And for me, it's better to go ahead and get it treated. Now, we're not treating our older beeves, anything that's going to be anywhere close to processing. On the bottle of your antibiotic that you treat livestock with, there's what's called a withdrawal period. And that's usually about 30 days that you can't sell that animal for meat. But we're not anywhere near that. So, if you have any questions about that, give me a call. I'm happy to talk about it. But for the quality of life of the animal, it's a tool in our toolbox. We're not mass treating all these animals. Some farmers do that for things like anaplasmosis, which flies carrying different things. But we're seeing these animals often enough, we can treat individual cases with an injectable. We don't have to do it on a mass scale. So we're not out here trying to create super bugs. That's always, I think the big elephant in the room is the super bug, and that's not really something that that's going to come from just treating individual animals. Now so that to me is the big one. We don't use any pesticides on our pastures. There's no reason for us to. We don't spray herbicides. Some farmers will spray their pastures to kill off all the weeds so they don't have to mow them. Sometimes we'll have to spot mow patches, but for us, these cattle out here, they'll eat a certain amount of weeds. They won't do as good as a sheep or goat, but they enjoy balancing their diet, and there's things they can get from weeds they can't get from the grass. The other big thing is it kills the clover. And when you're grass finishing or running cows 100% on pasture, clover is a wonderful thing. It's a great protein source, and so that's not something we want to kill anyway. So we don't do any of that. We're not spraying massive amounts of fertilizer or pesticides in this type of system. And it's one reason I choose to raise livestock. The other thing is the only pesticides that herbicides, which is plant killer, that I will use. And this is a quality of life for employee thing. I've got miles and miles of electric fence here. Right behind me, there's a single wire electric fence, and this is a 340 acre farm, 340 acres of grass, and it's probably got 6 miles of electric fence. And I would spend all day, every day, just clipping trees and brush if I had to do it every day. So what I've gone to doing underneath this fence is I will, not any time near where the cattle are going to be running through there, so they can't, be exposed to any kind of chemicals. I will clip or usually manually cut the tree or the brush, and then I will paint a little on the stump, or I might spray a small sprout or something like that, just because if you don't stop the regrowth, they come back tenfold. They'll shoot off from the roots, they'll bush out from the top. It's just absolutely miserable having to do that all the time, and I wouldn't be able to take good enough care of my cows if I was always cutting down shrubs. So that's become an important tool for me. That's the only herbicide that I use. But it would just not be cost effective to sell beef if I had to do that all the time. So let's see, we don't use any fertilizers. I'm not saying I won't in the future if the ground needs it. But so far we haven't used any synthetic fertilizers. We've been unrolling bales of hay and keeping these cattle out here all year long. So they're putting everything back. I'm having to chase these cows around. They think this car's a scratching post. So we're unrolling hay and we're fertilizing that way. Somebody asked if our hay was organic. It's not. I get it from my dad and grandpa. And, you know, they will use some fertilizer, but it's not any time near where they're very close to where they are going to be wrapping that hay up for forage. That usually you fertilize when the grass is short or dormant in the early spring before it's growing, or in the summer for fall growth. And then, you know, that we'll go ahead and make that plant, give that plant a little extra boost. It's not something we're going to be using in this operation, I don't believe, at least not anytime soon. For me, it can affect the soil life in a negative way. And soil life out here is so important. Basically, the way it's been explained to me, fertilizer is kind of a drug. If you use it once, you damaged your natural soil ecosystem and all of the microorganisms that help your plants get nitrogen. You've killed those off, made them irrelevant for a season, and then you have to, nature has to heal itself and reproduce those. Or you have to give them a bigger shot of fertilizer next year. Nitrogen fertilizer is usually what they're talking about there. But it's, you know, I guess it's a tool in the toolbox if we need it. But anyway, vaccinations. So in the past, there's a couple things that we vaccinate for. We've lost cattle from. My family has lost cattle from. So we feel like it's important. It's done when they're baby calves, you know, 5 months, and the cattle that we're processing are 24 to 30 months. So, you know, it's not in their bloodstream by any means. None of these things that we're doing, we're very conscious of this. We'll never go into the meat. You know, they'll build up antibodies. They'll have that in their system. But the big thing for me is blackleg. Sometimes these cattle, you know, you spill mineral or salt or something, they'll look down into the dirt. Sometimes they just eat dirt to get minerals. But blackleg and tetanus and your clostridiums are all found in the soil. And they'll be stored there for a long time, you know, multiple lifetimes. So it's not something you can get rid of. It's just there. And if the cattle's mouth come into contact with soil when they're chewing on grass or licking the ground or whatever they're doing out here on pasture, they can get those things. And so we want to, it's a easy way to protect them. We have lost cattle from that in the past. Tetanus is another big one when you are treating for, when you're taking a bull and turning them into a steer. Normally you have to inflict it's basically surgery. And so the tetanus vaccine, when they're laying on the ground, tetanus can get up into the scrotal area, get an infection, and that'll give them lockjaw and kill them just like it would a human being. So we want to protect those cattle from that. It's an easy way to do it. We give it to them at weaning time, and you know, they're never vaccinated again after that. And we don't vaccinate our cows either. You know, they've had that as a calf, and they should be building up immunity and passing that on to the calf naturally. So that's kind of how I feel about it. A lot of people, especially the vaccine salesmen, they'll tell you something different, and that's okay, but that's not what we're doing. And those are the reasons why. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that you guys have questions on. Somebody asked me what my water source was. So that was kind of an interesting question. I always want these cattle to have clean, fresh water. That's very important. That was the number one thing my grandpa told me. He said the best feed you can give a cow is clean water. And so everything that we're doing, I've fenced off all our fences. When I was a kid, we used to let our cattle just walk up and drink in the fences, and they'd stand in the water all summer, and that was pretty gross. And I think that caused some health problems. So we fence off all our ponds. We don't let the cattle in them. And so if we're watering from ponds, that's the way we do that. We do use some county water. We use some city water. Whatever is fresh and clean available. And honestly, you know, just trying to keep it as cost effective as possible too. So that's important. I think those are the big things that I had written down. Hormones. We don't use any artificial hormones. It wouldn't benefit me out here on pasture. In feedlots, you know, they'll inject artificial hormones. I don't want to misquote, but I think it's usually estrogen, and that boosts their gain, their average daily gain. They can put pounds on faster. But out here on pasture, it wouldn't give us any benefit. and it's not, you know, it's something everybody's concerned about, and we're not doing it. You know, they get what nature gets, and if a cow can't function with that, she's going on. And these calves, we want them to be happy, healthy, and we don't want to push them. And they're not getting enough excess energy to use those excess hormones anyway, so we're not doing that. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. I really appreciate these conversations. Sometimes they're hard. You know, again, there's some organic producers out there that do an excellent job. And organic is a buzzword, and anytime you get a buzzword, there's somebody out there trying to just figure out how to make straight profit off of it. And you know, for me, there's these tools are in my toolbox. I want to have them. I want to use them. I want to increase the quality of life of my animal and for myself. We're not abusing these things, but we do want to have them available, and you can't use those in an organic system. And so, you know, if you have any questions, let me know. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoy this video. And if you'd like to place an order for beef or bull or something like that, you give me a call. We also have a couple of lambs available. These were finished on a non-GMO barley grain and high quality alfalfa hay. We just ran out of space for them this summer, and didn't get them castrated on time to keep them out with the ewes. So again, it's a learning process. We're just out here trying to, you know, be transparent. But if you guys are interested in those things, give us a call. We'll see if we can help you out. Thank you.